The champ is here. Good evening, everybody. Wrestling fans, how are you all doing this week? We are running through week 5 now of our Deep 6 wrestling podcast. And I would like to welcome M tonight. Welcome back for a 5th week in a row. My AEW guy, M, from New Jersey.
I'm from New York.
Yeah, I just associate you with New Jersey more for some reason. Probably because I always see you in New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah, with the store. But thank you for having me again.
I think out of 20 times I've seen you, I'd say 19 of them has been in Jersey and 1 in Brooklyn.
That's true, yeah.
So I always associate you with Jersey. So we'll go with that for now.
All right.
Just kidding. Awesome show tonight.
Yeah.
A lot better than last week. More consistent across the board. We had some good promos. We had some good matches. We're going to talk about it. But first, this year is the 25th anniversary of Triple H being in the WWE. How about that?
Where's the time going, man? Really?
I've been following him since he was Hunter Hearst Levesque in 1994. As you know,
WCW, right?
Like, what's that?
That was in WCW, right?
Yes, it was. And if I'm not mistaken, he had his debut on WCW Saturday Night.
Yeah.
We have seen him grow a lot.
Yeah, my first introduction was when he first got to WWF as Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and I dug that from Connecticut. You know, it was the blue blood.
He was the heel that you wanted to hate.
Exactly,
and he did it good. I wanted to start out by asking you, what is your favorite experience that you've had with Triple H, whether it be live and in person or just watching on TV? What do you think is your best Triple H moment?
That's such a hard one. It's 25 years. I have maybe a couple. Like his time with DX, the original DX, the first iteration of it, with Shawn and China and Rick Rude. Like when he was constantly referring to his member as the purple helmeted soldier and all that stuff. He was hilarious back then. Like as a teenager, I really dug that. And then I fast forward to one of the WrestleManias. I think it was 26. No, it couldn't be 26. It had to be 24 when he fought the Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. Well, no, that was 27, wasn't it? 27?
28 was Hell in a Cell. 27 was a regular one-on-one match the year before.
Yes, that's what it was. That was special to me because I was there for it, and they just really went to town on each other. And it really felt like that was the end. At least at the time, I thought that would be the end of all of their careers, you know, with Undertaker, Shawn, and Hunter. And he continued on, but it felt special because it felt like this is the end of that era of that type of wrestler. You know, that was the end of the guys that we grew up with as teenagers really going at it one last time. It was a well-told story, and the physicality was obviously there. So those two moments, like I can't think of one particular DX moment in the very beginning because he was just there making jokes and being obnoxious. You just wanted to punch him in the face. It was great. Great heel work. And him in that last match in the Hell in a Cell, those will always be my moments.
I got in trouble in school many times for following Triple H's example of doing a DX crotch chop.
Exactly.
Got so much trouble. But he did every role so well.
Yeah.
So well.
He was so obnoxious that you loved him and you hated him at the same time. It's like, oh, I want to punch you in the face, you know? It was great.
And his heel work and the way he became champion a couple times.
Yeah.
which we'll get into. Um, yeah, he did a lot of good work. So, for example, a couple instances, I actually met Triple H at my first WWE house show in 1995. I'd say it was about mid-July. It was a house show in a high school gym at Patchogue Medford High School,
What?
4 miles from my house. A WWE house show in a high school gym. Like, it was unbelievable. Some other notable people was King Mabel, Stunny, Adam Bomb, Bam Bam Bigelow, John Pierre Lafitte. And it was my first ever show altogether. And I remember meeting Triple H. He was very nice, well mannered, and he greeted all his fans, and so did everybody that day. That was a great day that I'll never forget. I got his autograph. It's still kicking around somewhere.
Mm.
Um, and another moment that I remember with him was 2002 when he came back from his injury. I believe it was in the middle of January. It was a couple months before WrestleMania season. I feel like mid-January though.
Yeah,
He
it
came
had to be.
back to the biggest ovation I've ever heard in Madison Square Garden, next to a Stone Cold Pop. That
He
place,
came. He was
he
jacked when he came.
was jacked.
Oh,
He was working out. He did not sit home and watch TV and eating chips. That's for sure. He
exactly.
was working during his off time healing. Uh, what was that, from the hamstring or
Hamstring, yeah.
ACL?
When that was, it was a hamstring that he hurt during the spine buster. So he pulled a hamstring, I believe.
And yeah. So for some of you guys that don't know, he injured himself during the match, finished the match, and he was out for 8 months. Came back in it was 2002, right? It was right before his match with Jericho and Triple H main event.
Hmm.
What that would have been WrestleMania 18.
I believe so. My memory is not as sharp as yours. You watch the WrestleManias
Yes,
more often than I do, so
yes. WrestleMania 18 was Jericho and Triple H, and that would have been 2000. Yeah, that would have been 2002.
yeah.
Okay. Um, so yeah, he came back in the early winter, and that was just a huge moment that I'll never forget. I have funny stories about that. Losing my ticket, I lost my ticket in Penn Station
What?
for that Raw, and I don't know what happened. We were eating in Roy Rogers or something, below, the Penn Station, and I realized when I got, when it was about time to go into the event, I didn't have my ticket on me. I didn't know where I dropped it. Thankfully, I ran to the ticket box office, and there were a couple tickets left over, so I had to buy another ticket to get into that event. But let me tell you, it was worth it that night.
Yeah, I'm
That
sure.
was one of Triple H's biggest moments, that we didn't know how everything was going to turn out, and we didn't know how big it was going to be. And it was a good night.
All those Raws back then were like must see TV and must attend events if they were in your neighborhood, you know?
How about the new year? The new year going into 2000 to start off the millennium. Triple H beat the Big Show, the first Monday Night Raw of the millennium.
Yeah.
Big Show had won that title, Survivor Series '99, against The Rock, and I forgot who. It was a triple threat though. Big Show won, drops it first Raw of the new year. I believe it was January 4th. And I'll never forget his celebration with the black and green balloons coming down, and it was the whole Helmsley McMahon era.
Yes.
So those are just a couple of my couple moments that stick out. But I wanted to cover that really quick. We didn't cover it a couple of days ago, so I wanted to get that in.
Here's
But
one more before you go.
yeah,
It was I believe he really started coming into his own right before DX formed when he was fighting Mankind. It was like at the very formation of DX. It was like just there, and he fought Mankind a couple of times, and I think China was above a cage at one point, wasn't she?
yes, I can't pinpoint the exact event and day or month it was in, but
I,
yeah,
I know that happened. I don't remember either, but there were some, like, he was coming into his own. You can tell it was his time. He had put in the work. He had he paid his dues. I mean, he paid for things that he had no control over, like the curtain call at Madison Square Garden. He took the heat for that. You know, he was supposed to win the King of the Ring. They gave it to Stone Cold that year as punishment, and he had to sit back and wait. But he got it, man. And congrats to him, 25 years.
And we know how that all played out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, the curtain call probably saved the business by accident.
Yeah. Who would have thought, right? Something so insignificant. And it was huge implications.
Absolutely. Moving on, AEW Dynamite. This is what we're here for on Wednesday nights. We are going to talk about the TNT Championship title tournament, and we got to give ourselves, me and you specifically, a pat on the back.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who it was. I think maybe I agreed with you and went along with you, but either way, it was called, it was predicted here first, and so far, we're about halfway there through the tournament, and everything we've been predicting is absolutely correct.
And it's just like I said. We were talking about this, I think, last week. Dustin had to win this match so that it would mean more when Archer beat him for the next match. That way, when he meets Cody in the finals, they have some more heat to fight over. He's got to hurt Dustin when they fight. He's got to do something extremely violent to him to make it that much more personal.
Now, I have an idea. I'm still sticking with the fact that Lance Archer is probably going to win this thing. But I have an idea that if they don't have Lance Archer in mind, how to get around this. I have an idea that they could go the route of Dustin Rhodes winning by disqualification against Archer and setting up a brother versus brother.
I'm not going to lie. That would be something I'd want to watch again. Their match at Double or Nothing was amazing. You were heavily invested in it. I know it was emotional, especially toward the end when I think as a Spanish man, I will never sit here and admit that I wanted to cry, but wink, wink. I had something in my eye that night. So it was something that you feel, man. And that's why I love this product, because there's a lot of passion in it. The guys that do it, they believe in it. And in turn, you believe in it. So that's why I'm head over heels in love with this company. They're my go-to right now.
If this is in fact Dustin Rhodes' last run, wouldn't it make sense for him to go out with his brother? His last match being against his brother?
I would totally be up to watch that and see that and go through that roller coaster one more time. That's a ride I would pay. And hey, we're getting close to Double or Nothing, so it could be the rematch from last year. That's something that would throw us for a swerve, because we're all thinking Archer. You're right. What if it's not Archer? Maybe there's a distraction or something, and we get brother versus brother again.
We could, and it's something I didn't even think about.
Yeah, I didn't think about it either. And maybe that's the point. We don't think about it, and that's how they get us.
Now, guys, anybody who's watching in the next couple days or so, you heard it here first. But so far, we have been 100% correct on everything.
Yep, I still got my money.
Listen, we need legitimacy. We're getting legitimacy on this podcast, on this YouTube channel as we speak.
There it is.
So, Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. We see Darby Allin with the pinfall win, advancing to the semifinals. Darby Allin with that figure four leg lock pinfall type. I forgot the name of what he's calling that, but it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that move. I already forgot the name of it, to be honest with you.
I forgot the name of it because it's only the second time I'm seeing it.
Yeah, they've only
And
done
I didn't take notes on it.
yeah. So he wins with that move. The match itself was great. I had a lot of fun watching it from Allen going after Sammy's leg, the heel that he busted up a couple of months ago when Matt Jackson super kicked him. He destroyed his ankle. His ankle was like this big. So I like how they played that off. I'm pretty sure by now his ankle is fine, but you still gotta the rule in wrestling. If you have an injury, it's gonna be used in the match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a storytelling 101.
Exactly. So I applaud them for remembering and using it, and I think they did a really good job. I mean, Alan takes Sammy's shoe off, and it's just going to work on Sammy's leg. And Sammy, for his credit, is wrestling with one shoe, and he's still really good. He's doing springboards off the middle ropes, with one foot, and you can see that he's trying to still favor the hurt foot, and he's still flying around and flipping, and he's impressive, man. I think he's going to be a mega star,
Oh,
and
absolutely. It's headed that way, slowly but surely.
so is Allen. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of him, but people really do dig him. They love that stuff. He's that dark, avenging shade of gray that a lot of people really gravitate to. So it was the right choice. Like I said, storytelling. There's more history with Allen and Cody from the time that they fought to a draw, and then again, Cody takes the win. Their next meeting. So
I could see that. Yeah.
yeah, so this is the third meeting between Allen and Cody, and I think it'll end up Cody again.
Yeah. So we saw it was pretty much the writing was on the wall a couple of weeks ago when they
Yeah.
planted the seeds of Cody and Darby Allin getting each other's face. So it kind of made sense for Darby Allin to win this match, even though it's a face versus face. It still made sense. Then we touched on it, but we Dustin Rhodes versus Kip Sabian. Dustin Rhodes wins with the code red. Let me tell you something. Dustin Rhodes looking better and wrestling better than what he did 22 years ago in 98.
It's amazing to see him pull out these moves that I've never seen him pull out before. Like I can almost forget that he was Goldust or Six. What was it? It wasn't Six. It was it might have been Six. What was he in WCW after he was Goldust? It was terrible.
Black Rain.
Black Rain. It was terrible.
I'm surprised I remember that.
Yeah, and the thing is that I saw the video the other day, so I should have remembered, but it was that forgettable, and it was just like seeing him. He's rejuvenated, and this is what I was saying earlier. There's just
great.
So much passion. And
DDP.
Yeah, DDP.
Probably working with him.
Yeah, definitely, and he's working with the women there. Helping them out. Tell them don't forget the main camera. A lot of these wrestlers, they're from the independent scene. So they're not used to having cameras everywhere, especially stationary cameras. The hard camera, you got to work the hard camera.
Yeah. How about Penelope Ford selling that spear from Brandy Rhodes tonight? She made Brandy look great.
Ford is always great. I mean, you put her in there, and she's going to make whoever she's in there with look like $1 million. I give her a lot of credit, and to me, she's a show stealer. Because honestly, I can't keep my eyes off her. She's amazing, and I love her because she can wrestle still. She can still wrestle. She's not a pretty face. She can actually go in the ring, and I love that. I respect that to no end.
So this was the shenanigans that we got leading up to Dustin Rhodes' pinfall. Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, pinfall win, but pinfall win after the code red, which looked amazing. So that sets us up for the semifinals.
Yeah,
Dustin Rhodes versus Archer.
It's Archer. Yeah, like we predicted.
Yes,
and I really think he's going to hurt him. He's going to hurt him bad. He's going to do something dastardly and underhanded, and maybe not even underhanded, just very violent. He's going to make it.
Archer wins.
Archer win. In my
Archer
book,
wins unless they go the other route where Archer then gets himself disqualified. That's the only way you get Archer
exactly.
to not advance into the finals.
But the only thing is that if he gets himself disqualified, then it makes Dustin look weak. So that's the only thing that I see as a drawback if they go that route.
Well, just think about what happened with Ric Flair and his whole 6 months build to his match with Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair WrestleMania 24. Ric Flair, I'm sure, won a couple matches by DQ or what have
Rick
you.
is Rick. You know, that
I
dude,
get that.
you can't do nothing to him. He was in a plane crash and walked away. All right, Ric Flair. There's no comparison.
No, you can't compare the two, but I'm comparing the scenario.
No, I know you are. I'm making light of it.
But that's really the only way that Archer loses to Dustin. You have to have him get counted out, disqualified. You're not going to have Dustin lose by. I'm sorry, you're not going to have Dustin pin Archer. That's not happening. Or submission. It's not happening.
You can't.
You're not pulling off a code red on Archer. None of that's happening. So I feel like the Archer is going to win that and go into the finals.
And he has
Cody.
And he has momentum, and he has that overbearing, just aggression, you know. And we're not going to see Jake the Snake there because, from my knowledge, he's in quarantine at the moment. Thankfully, he shouldn't be out there anyway at his age. But
he might be out there for All Out though, because that's not even taped, and that's still about 6 weeks away.
Well, no, that's Double or Nothing, the next one. And who knows?
Double or Nothing.
I mean, he should be out, considering I'm really hoping this is over by then, or at least some restrictions are lifted. I don't see them having full crowds anytime soon. They were talking about maybe August or September for full crowds, and even then, who knows what full crowds is?
I think it's going to be a progression.
It is. It's going to be step by step and something that we're going to build on. So we're going to have to get used to what we're seeing now, which is less people in the audience, maybe a couple of wrestlers. I dig, like I was saying while watching it tonight, how it's great to have just a couple of people, just a couple. You know, they can stand 6 feet away from each other.
It is making a big difference on AEW production right now.
It really does. I mean, it looks like I'm watching a show again. You know, I forget that there's not a huge audience. There's noise, there's ambience, and the announcers here are just truly amazing. You got Shivani and Jericho constantly going and bickering.
Yes, there's no
break.
Quiet time between them two, and that's making a huge difference. That's where WWE is dropping the ball.
Exactly. And you have to give them credit because it is hard to sit there and talk throughout the whole show. There's just nonstop banter, and it's great. I mean, he's looking at Pineapple Pete. I don't know how many times he said Pineapple Pete tonight. He's I hate that guy, Pineapple Pete. He's just constantly going, and you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever I'm watching AEW, I tend to forget that there is no audience.
Yeah.
Unless the camera shoots away from the ring, I tend to forget that there's no audience.
Yeah, because you're in growth.
It tells me that they are doing a little bit of a better job with their production.
Yeah, with the production, especially in this scenario, they're hands down something I'd want to watch over the WWE product at the moment.
And Chris Jericho on the mic is amazing.
It's gold, man. I told you, he's Midas. What he touches is gold. Look at the bubbly bunch, you know?
Oh, my goodness. How about the Flam Flam? Was that what it was called? The Flam?
The Flam. The Flim Flam.
The Flam.
I'm sitting there going, what the hell's a Flim Flam? You know, I had no idea.
Oh, my goodness. I got to get that dance move down.
Yeah, it's always something.
Make a TikTok out of it.
Yeah, that's what they were going for. They were going for the whole TikTok vibe. And I love the fact that he has both dogs on the corners, and then in the middle square on the bottom is the actual champagne, a little bit of bubbly.
Looking up.
Yeah, and it's like, are you kidding me? The dude, they're very inventive, and
and then when they cut away to Jake, Jake Hager and Sammy Guevara
Yeah,
and the other two guys. It's just hilarious
yeah, and
seeing
it's
all the
good
reactions.
tiebreakers, and it fits in with the theme of what we're watching on AEW at the moment. Everybody knows we're in quarantine, but they somehow have fun with it,
And
and they still,
AEW is acknowledging it.
yes, yes.
WWE hasn't acknowledged. I don't even think has acknowledged it once. They don't really talk about it.
You know what I noticed?
AEW has
I know,
incorporated that in their
yeah.
storylines a little bit.
And I noticed that as a difference as a former big. I used to be hardcore WWE, you know that, but they seem to exist in their own bubble, where nothing outside of that bubble gets mentioned unless it's some celebrity or an athlete. But a lot of like current events really don't apply. And AEW is a little different. They're more willing to say, "Hey, this is the situation, and enjoy the show. We're doing this for you." And WWE has done that to an extent. Did you see the video with Stephanie, where she's like, "Oh, we're doing this for you," but it just felt disingenuous, and it wasn't inside the product. It was a separate announcement.
Just trying to save face.
Of course she was, but I mean that's essentially what she was saying was, "Hey, we're trying to entertain you during this time. Like you guys really need it." But it feels disingenuous, and it's not in the product itself. You never hear the announcers say, "Hey, this is why we're doing it. We want to do it for you fans who are at home, and you need a distraction." They're kind of in their own universe. I mean, they even use that word universe a lot. It's the WWE universe, so it's very self-contained. It's a bit of a bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. And MJ, we saw that MJF's promo tonight, which is
I,
great. It seems to me that they may be building him up as the next contender for the AEW title.
you know what? I wouldn't mind. Honestly, he
I
did.
would save it more for the later part of the year,
Oh yeah,
though. They
definitely.
planted the seed tonight.
Yeah. The guy is gold. I mean, I think it was yesterday, he tweeted out that he was hurt. And he just never broke character outside of wrestling. He's always the jerk. He's always that despicable, how is it, from Long Island?
Enlighten me.
Yeah, he's from Long Island, so he plays that up. He's from Long Island.
Yeah.
So
I haven't played that up in a long time.
no, so he's that obnoxious dude, and even on the Jericho cruise where he was with these people, all the fans, and he would sit there and berate anyone who made eye contact with him. He stayed in character for the whole cruise. So for him to come out yesterday and say, I'm hurt and this is very hard for me, I said, man, this guy, he's playing us. And tonight he came out and he's like, yeah, like I hurt myself gambling. I gave myself a hangnail, and but I fought through it and I kept gambling, and I finished the night. And it was like, are you kidding me, man? This is how you hurt, and it was perfect. It's his character, and that's who he is. He's just a jerk, and he. I saw online the reactions that people were giving him. He played everyone, and it was great. And I had my inkling that this is what it was, because he kept saying, you haven't seen me wrestle on Dynamite. It's because I was hurt. It's like, no, man, you're in New York and you're just chilling until this is over, and you hurt your pinky gambling,
Yeah.
So it was inventive, and he didn't get me, but it was fun watching.
That's funny.
Jerk.
It was definitely entertaining. I'm definitely led to believe that they planted the seed tonight for MJF to be a contender this year sometime against John Moxley. Yeah, I mean, maybe August.
I mean, listen, even we can
Maybe
have
August, November.
yeah.
I
can see November maybe at the end of the year.
Give him some more time to build up.
Yeah, give him some more time, and then probably have like Wardlow help him win the title at some point. Barely wrestle, he just takes a beating, and then Wardlow comes out of nowhere or something and helps him win.
Yeah, I think MJF would be a great chicken, you know what, heel
Yeah,
as a
perfect.
champion. It'd be
He is the
great.
perfect guy to do that. He
Absolutely.
and that's what irks me about wrestling sometimes because you have great heels who are strong heels, and then you decide to make them the chicken heel, and it doesn't work out. The people they don't believe in it. This guy is the quintessential chicken. It's like he's gonna sit there, he's gonna worm himself out. Just like when he whipped Cody. He really thought Cody would hit him back and he'd be out of the match. It's like I don't have to wrestle you. You hit me.
Yeah.
You didn't take your lashes. I don't have to wrestle you. And he worms his way out of it. And it's great because there was a time where he's just so entertaining on the mic that you can't help but to start to like him because he's funny. And then he whips Cody 10 times on TV, and you're like, yeah, dude, you took it too far. Like, I gotta hate you. So he's doing a good job staying a heel because I think a lot of heels fall into that trap where they become too popular, and you can't help but to root for them because they're so entertaining. But he's entertaining, but you can't root for him. You can't after the things that he pulls.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a lost art nowadays to just be a heel and stay a heel.
Absolutely. Um, Moving on before we wrap this up, a couple of matches to hit upon. We had Jimmy Havoc versus Orange Cassidy with a nice rare appearance on AEW Dynamite in a match. Um, Orange Cassidy got the win here.
Yeah, and he took a hell of a beating. It was just Havoc just going to town on him for most of the match until he put his hands in his pocket. That was a mistake on Havoc.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Cassidy immediately got laid out with a cradle DDT afterwards.
Oh yeah,
So
that's the
we
tag
saw
match.
that. But this is going to set up a match between best friends and Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian. Kip
Yeah,
Sabian was out there before his match.
yeah. Like I said, I think I said it last week. Like I like Havoc when he wrestles. When he's wrestling, he's got that British strong style. I dig that. He's not even like in mega shape, but he's tough and he's violent, man. So and he's technical, which always surprises me when I see him. He doesn't look like a technical wrestler, and here he is, technical wrestling. So that British strong style is there, and it's going to be a great matchup. Him, Kip Sabian against the best friends. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, that should be good. I expect a really good match out of those pairing. Um, we saw Wardlow with a win tonight in a
Yeah,
squash match. We also saw Brody Lee in a squash match against Justin Law. Who was Brody Lee talking to tonight?
that's what I want to know. Um, it looked like oh
Imagine if it was Jeff Hardy. But
no,
he's under contract though. But could have been Christopher Daniels,
you know who it looked like? It looked like the oh my god, Omega's friend,
the
Nakazawa.
Japanese guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looked like him for a minute from the silhouette, but I could be wrong. I don't want them to really mess with Nakazawa, in all honesty, but it would be a very good change. Nakazawa becoming part of the inner circle. I mean, at one point they teased that on being the elite, so they can always return to that. But I thought the silhouette was Nakazawa, and I like Nakazawa, so I really hope it wasn't in a way because I'm a sucker for his antics. So, but I go with Nakazawa.
We'll have to see what happens. It's interesting to see the momentum that Brody Lee is going to get with this character. I hope he does well.
I'm digging it so far. Like Brody Lee, he's intense, man. Just looking into his eyes. Listen, I ain't fighting him. So that's the look he gives you is just that I'm gonna tear your soul out of your spine, something like that. And he was looking at Marco Stunt all night, and it seems like they set that match up for next week. Marco Stunt versus Brody Lee. I feel very, very bad for Marco, man. I don't want to see him get beat down, but that's
It's kind of funny seeing him take the bumps, though.
Oh yeah, the dude is, like I said, he's tough. That little guy.
Yeah.
He earns respect tenfold.
It's almost like watching midget toss at this point.
Yeah, and
that stuff makes me crack up.
What's cool is that Marco Stunt's a really nice guy. He's very down to earth, and you see him like on the vlogs and things like that. He's very you can start to relate to him because he's just a regular dude. And so once you start seeing him like that, you really don't want to see him take all those bumps, and that's what's going to happen next week. He's just going to get decimated. So it's nice that the audience has that connection to these guys that you don't expect to win often, because when you put them in harm's way, that it elicits a response from the crowd. And I felt it tonight. I was like, oh, come on, don't do that to Marco. He's a cool dude. Leave him alone. So that's what's going to happen. He's going to decimate Marco next week.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
We could see Luchasaurus come back next week.
Yeah.
Start something with Brody Lee versus Luchasaurus. Why not?
Yeah, because eventually when all this ends and we'll have the full roster back, they're going to go after Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, because that was a feud that was going on not too long ago. So we'll see that revisited, definitely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Mm-hmm. If Luchasaurus shows up, you heard it here first. Calling my shot for next week.
Yeah.
Did they announce the semifinals for next week?
I don't remember them announcing it. All the.
Yeah, I know they just talked about the tag team match.
Yeah.
That's all I can recall at the moment.
I think they're holding off.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Well, yeah, they might wait on that.
Mm-hmm. Build it up a little bit.
Maybe like 2 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that match is next week or the week after for the semifinals. But we'll
you don't know if it's going to be Darby and Cody or Dustin and Archer.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting considering Dustin just fought and Cody and Darby just fought.
Yeah, so they'll probably take a week off, do the tag match with.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Cody didn't just fight. That was last week, but you know what I'm saying, Darby Allin.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. Final thoughts.
The show was good tonight. It flowed well. Like I said last week, I think we had that interruption where JR took over commentary, and that hurt a little bit. And the match itself was a little more methodical and slow paced. Tonight, everything seemed to flow and meld together. The time, I looked at my time a couple of times, and it just seemed to have been flying by. It was fun, engaging, and well put together. So I think this week I enjoyed it much more than I did last week. It was a great time waster. 2 hours of my Wednesday flew by again, and that's what you want to see on these days where you're watching wrestling and you're going, it's 10 o'clock already, or 9:30. It's the main event time already.
So 2 hours is a lot easier to take in.
It really is. I mean, and it leaves you wanting more. I think, and that's one problem I always had with Raw is that it's 3 hours, and I think 2 hours is the sweet spot.
If they can cut down to 2 hours somehow, and I don't think it will anytime soon, but if they can cut down for 2 hours, they'll be good. Because
when
their content has been a lot better on Raw, for sure.
Yeah, when we were younger, we had the first hour was Raw. Oh no, it was Warzone, wasn't it? And then Raw's War was the second hour, and you always felt like it flowed, and it was always over too soon and left you wanting more. Yeah. You got to leave them wanting more. That way, I tune in next week.
Even when Raw for the first time went to 3 hours, or when they did it randomly, like once every 3 months for some kind of special, It was
August West.
good, but now with the way they've been doing the content these past couple of years, it's hard to
It feels like a
sit
slog.
through 3 hours.
I went
It's
to the
been
show
better though.
with Stone Cold when he was at the Garden. My son had tickets. He was like, "Dad, you want to come?" And I was like, "Not really, but I love you, so I'm gonna go." And I sat there complaining the whole time because I'm like, "Oh, it felt so long." And I could watch Stone Cold all day, but even that wasn't enough for me to want to sit there. And it was longer than 3 hours because they film superstars beforehand.
Yeah, so
So
you
you're
figure the
looking.
show probably started like 7:15, 7:30, the latest.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
you're looking at 3.5 hours,
yeah.
and it's just too much to sit through, man. And then the commercial breaks and everything stops while they're in commercial. It was just too much. But 2 hours, I think, is a sweet spot for any wrestling show.
Yeah.
And sometimes even for the lesser shows like Dark, an hour is great. You sit there, you put on a couple of matches, a couple of promos, and bing bang, you're good. And on to the next one.
I mean, SmackDown had the right formula for a couple of years as soon as they
It
went to
really
Friday night, but then
Yeah.
as soon as they went to Fox, they can't even do a good 2-hour show.
Yeah, I don't understand it because I honestly, like I said, with WWE, I don't understand it. For years now, I used to watch religiously. You know it. You used to come to the store and watch pay-per-views, and we'd talk about it all day. But at little by little, they took for granted what the audience wanted, and it felt like they would toy with you or give you what they thought you wanted or what was good for you instead of what you genuinely wanted. So a lot of the storylines kind of became childish and derivative, uh, and it kept going and going, and you get matches, the same matches over and over. Why am I watching the same match every single week? That was another issue, and it just, I don't know, they're dropping the ball, and I hope that for wrestling's sake they start producing something better because SmackDown should be a lot better. And I always feel like Vince handicaps SmackDown. As soon as it starts to get really good and engaging, it seems like he pulls the roster away and puts them all on Raw. Or maybe he'll change like the writers and or producers.
I,
It's very frustrating.
it's probably the writers and the producers at this point.
More
I
talent.
mean, it's a difference between night and day. The way Raw has been booked and the way SmackDown's been booked. Raw, regardless of what's going on right now, it's been all fresh content, a lot of new faces, and if wrestlers don't want to volunteer, and I don't blame them, but if they don't want to volunteer, someone's always going to step up and want that opportunity and take advantage of it. And that's what's happening on the Monday night side for sure. We're seeing new faces. Everything feels fresh. 3 hours, it's still a long time, but it's a little easier to take in as of now. So I got to give credit where credit's due. And then we're
Well,
seeing better matches.
yeah,
SmackDown.
and you know who it is. I mean, it's no secret. You got Heyman on Raw,
Yeah, he's
and
doing an amazing job.
yeah, he's pushing for a lot of these younger talents, and you have to keep the product fresh. You can't just show me the same two guys wrestling for 3 months straight. You gotta introduce new guys. You gotta make new stars, and I think that Heyman's the guy that will do that. And he's advocating. I use that loosely, but he's pushing for guys to get these shots, and it's working. You can see the product is like night and day between Monday and Friday.
Yeah. NXT still been good. I'm 2 weeks behind, I'm not gonna lie, because as of now, Wednesday nights is AEW nights for me. Because they've been killing it since the new year. They've been killing it. And it makes me want to watch every week.
Yeah, it keeps you
And plus
engaged.
it helps that it's a new brand too as well.
Yeah, there's that.
They've been really killing it with their storytelling. It's been great.
I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between NXT and AEW is that a lot of times NXT they only concentrate on wrestling and match quality, and they had, and you got to give it to them, like especially the women. I'm a huge fan of the women in NXT. They kill it, but sometimes you need a little bit of spice here and there. And I'm more of a match quality guy, but there's something about AEW that has always pulled me in. And like I said earlier, it's that passion. They believe in what they're doing. I think that with NXT, it's still part of the corporate empire of McMahon. So, and you kind of see that. It's like we're wrestling, but I think they had more passion when it was a 1 hour show and it was on the network exclusively. I feel there's a lack of I don't know, je ne sais quoi.
You got a lot of new faces there too, as well.
Yeah, and that,
And this roster movement, you've got women like Shayna Baszler, Belair. They're now on the main roster, so that kind of takes away a little bit from what's going on with their women's division.
yeah, because I used to love the women's division. I mean,
and it's still good. They just need building.
They need building, exactly. Yeah. And I think
they have a great you got Shotzi over there. You still got Io Shirai.
I love her.
Charlotte's back down there, but that's to help elevate the women over there.
You know who Io Shirai
is?
Evil's girlfriend from New Japan.
That's
his fiance.
Okay, yeah, I did not know that was Evil's girlfriend.
There's rumbling that
she could go back there, right?
That she could go back there. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to put her in the main roster to give her a pay bump soon, because they're trying to lure her back to Japan, and her fiance is in Japan. So
WWE is trying to keep her.
Correct.
I mean, why not slap the title?
Yeah,
on her. After all, she is the number one contender.
I was about to mention that, so we might see that happen. So keep an eye out for that first, right?
Only time will tell. And unless something else might be going on in the background, what could make her want to stay is if New Japan and AEW work on a deal where wrestlers float back and forth.
I really hope.
Like we've seen with Ring of Honor, we may see a guy like Evil in the U.S. a little bit more often at AEW TV, and it would kind of help Io Shirai and maybe want to stay.
That would
not move just yet.
That would make my whole year. This year's crappy. I mean, we have a virus that's shutting down everything, but give me New Japan and AEW, and I'll forgive it. I will forgive all of this if you give me those two companies working together.
It's quite possible. It's
really
quite possible that could happen.
Fingers crossed.
I would like to see an invasion angle.
Oh my God, I would too. I pray for that.
Makes sense. Two separate companies.
Oh, and like I said, the styles, they all mesh, and a lot of the AEW guys wrestled in Japan, so they can do the same matches that they did over there. They've been entertaining people for so many years. I've been watching archival footage of New Japan and watching these guys, and I'm like, I've been missing this all my life. This is great. This is what I need in life. AEW New Japan. That's what I need.
It's something that very well could happen down the pike.
I really hope so, because I think that they'd be unstoppable if they teamed up. Because New Japan wants to expand into the U.S. They have an LA dojo in LA, and they're already expanding it and making it a corporate office for the U.S. expansion. They had a couple of dates here in the U.S. marked out for 2020. Not sure how that's going to happen. They even had a show scheduled for August 22nd at MSG, and that's SummerSlam weekend. It was going to go against NXT that day. It was a Saturday. Yeah. And I'm sorry, NXT, I love you, but I'd go to New Japan in a heartbeat. I like strong style. Those guys are tough, and they beat the crap out of each other. I'm watching that 100 times out of 100 times.
You are a New Japan mark, that's for sure.
They've converted me, man. I've been infected by New Japan.
Hey, listen, I can't deny their talent. I watched most of their G1 while I was laid up trying to heal from Achilles injury, and there
Is
was
that
some good
fighting
matches
spirit?
there.
Yeah, that's the fighting spirit. A whole month
Yeah.
of wrestling almost every single day.
Yep.
And not in the same arena. No, they still had to travel and wrestle every day.
Yeah.
And
They did a couple different arenas.
yeah, and Coda did it with a sprained ankle and won the G1. That to me was amazing. I tip my cap to all those guys. They are uber tough. Uber and
Yeah.
John Moxley was there
Yeah.
during G1. So I can't wait till the next G1. Apparently, it's going to be in November. So they had pushed it back because of the Olympics, which aren't taking place now.
Yeah.
But so I can't wait to November for
I mean,
it.
it kind of makes sense to do G1 in November anyway, and then you get that title match not too long after that.
Exactly.
Instead of like 5 months wait.
Yeah, the timing is better.
Yeah.
But the draw of the G1 in the summer is that it's hot and it's grueling and it's punishment, you know. And those guys they weather it. I don't know how. I stumped my toe. I'm sore for 3 days later. I can't imagine wrestling almost every single day, and especially their style. You have a grueling match Monday, Tuesday you have a tag match. You have a grueling match Wednesday, tag
Yep.
match on Thursday.
I picked up on that pattern. A block, B block.
Yeah, so
Picked up on that pattern. I didn't understand the layout a couple of years ago, but now I understand it.
yeah, it takes a little getting used to.
Yeah.
But when you get used to it and you see it, and you have to applaud them, man. The will is there.
We got a lot to look forward to as far as wrestling goes this year, especially if things open up soon. I'm looking forward to seeing, Drew McIntyre's run. I'm looking to see the development of AEW, to see if New Japan gets involved. I'm looking forward to see where all these wrestlers get released.
Yeah.
From when it got released last week to where they end up. So Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact,
They have
maybe even NWA.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Close to the year for sure.
Oh yeah,
so we're almost in the second half of the year.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of this, and it's gonna get better, and we just have to keep our head above water and think of the better days to come.
Absolutely, New York is the worst. It's the epicenter of the COVID virus. Unfortunately, it's always got to be us, always the center of attention. But yeah, New York is in the center of this, and we're seeing some slight improvements. Slow but steady improvements.
Exactly.
So I'm cautiously optimistic about the next month or so. Yes. Absolutely.
I want out.
I know, but it'll happen.
It'll happen, and when it happens, it'll be that much better. And like I said, we have a lot. Well, you said it actually. We have a lot of wrestling to look forward to, and a lot of special things lined up. So it's going to be a special time for wrestling fans. There's a lot of choices out there.
Really quick, because you weren't on a Monday night show, I wanted to get your thoughts. The Money in the Bank, both the men's and the women Money in the Bank matches are going to take place in the corporate building, corporate headquarters of the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the match starts in the building. They'll be brawling all over the place. And the winners are the ones who make it to the top of the building and grab the Money in the Bank briefcase.
I think I mentioned this. I don't know if I started this conversation. I think I did in Deep Six message boards, the group, because I hate the fact that now we're going the more cinematic route, and I think this was the cinematic matches they were talking about, and I fear that this is going to become the norm, even when we have crowds back. I think that they're still going to try to do this. So I don't like where it's headed, and I don't think Money in the Bank should have gone that route. I mean,
I know
we all look forward to seeing all the ladders, all the high spots, even with no crowd. I think they could have done that,
and I think there will be
spots. But to change it to you got to get to the top of the building, I don't agree with it. I think it takes away from the spirit of pro wrestling. You know me, I love pro wrestling. I don't want this to become movies. I don't want that to happen. I mean, we get the promos that are taped. That's cool, but I don't think whole matches should be like that. So I was a little down when I heard about it, and I discussed it. I see everybody's point that during the COVID virus outbreak and we're all inside, this is okay. But I guess I fear for the future of pro wrestling. I don't want this to become a norm, so I'm gonna have to stomach it now. But I don't think they should do it beyond this period of time.
Yeah,
It doesn't fill me
it's gonna
with
be interesting.
yeah,
I'm mostly interested to see how they're gonna do this.
yeah. It's a weird time.
I'm thinking it's gonna look something like 1995, like the Raw intro,
Yeah, man.
with the ring set up on top of the building. The match will end in a ring up there, and then you grab the ladder, and then you see the suitcase. I don't know how it's going to look like. I wonder how it's going to look like to the drivers
Yeah,
who are driving down I-95.
and it's cold. It's
Jay and
so
I,
cold.
and Cooper made a joke how maybe a fight's going to end up in an elevator. You beat
Yeah,
somebody
that's
in the
what
elevator as you're going up the building.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're gonna see stuff like that because it seems that McMahon has that type of sense of humor, where he'd want to see something like that, and that's what I fear. I fear that will keep going. I don't want to see stuff like that. I watch pro wrestling because there are no second takes, you know. So when they tell me that it's going to be another cinematic match, I mean, it may turn out cool. I might be wrong, but I'm not looking forward to it because I fear for the business as a whole. I don't want this to become a thing, where it's like, oh, we're just going to do a special match and you're just going to sit there and watch it like a theater. I don't want that, and that's my biggest fear. I think my fear is stopping me from any type of enjoyment when these announcements get made.
It's going to look like the Super Bowl commercial from '98.
Yeah,
That's just how it's all going to play out,
yeah,
except
and
with
that's
different
what I fear.
faces.
Yeah,
You see fire shooting out of the building.
hmm and that's what I
Vince
don't want.
McMahon will be saying, "This is good." You know what?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why sometimes I feel like he's really out of touch with what the wrestling fan likes and what we want. Because, like I said, that this you could have taped a regular match, and it would have looked like every other Money in the Bank. We didn't need to change Money in the Bank. Why would we change it?
Yeah.
It's not broken. You can't improve upon the wheel. The wheel is essential. It gets us from point A to point B. You can't improve upon it. So don't. It's not broken. Don't fix it. And I think that's what they're doing here with the whole cinematic match. I'm very
I'm
negative
one.
on it.
I'm trying to figure out the reasons why they're doing this match, and I'm wondering if it had anything to do with like the amount of people that they can have in the building in Florida.
It might be that, or it might just be that they saw that people like the cinematic matches for WrestleMania.
I just, and that's what some people were talking about, that the overexposure of this could be bad if they go to the well too many times, and
Yeah,
people are going to get sick of it.
exactly, and that's what I fear because remember when Fandango beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania, and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was a surprise. Fandango was over.
and the next day, Fandango's music was everywhere. And Vince saw that and he's like, oh my God, like we're going to run with this. And they hammered it into the ground and it was no longer cool because it felt pushed. And I think they have a tendency of doing that. They come up with these great ideas and then they run them into the ground. And then it's no longer cool to get into it. It's like you don't look forward to it. Like you said earlier, like sometimes you got to keep it special, man. Don't give it to me every week. Don't give it to me every second. Don't put it on every YouTube channel. Give it to me once in a while. Keep it special. And I think that overexposure is what kills a lot of the great ideas that WWE has.
It's kind of like the equivalent of like whenever you're going over somebody's house, and if you start showing up like every single day, you wear out your welcome. So
Exactly.
when I'm
Like
seeing the
that.
same thing on TV every single week, you eventually run it to the ground,
Yeah. You get
and you
tired of
get
it.
tired and sick and tired of seeing it.
Exactly.
And
And,
that's
and
what WWE's been doing for years.
for years. Yeah.
And
And
it
that's
doesn't
what
help that they have too many hours of, although I like watching as much wrestling as possible, but it doesn't
Mhm.
help that you have even more hours to fill, and that
Exactly.
makes more room for overexposure.
Exactly.
AEW doesn't have that problem right now.
and I hope it does. It never does. I don't want them to have too much content where we will, because it's inevitable that if you see something that often, it ceases to be special and you get tired of it. So I hope that AEW, they rein themselves back. If they ever get that urge to overexpand and add a hell of a lot more hours, they go, you know what, this is probably not the best idea. Let's keep it a little special. You got to keep the people hungry.
Yeah, they gotta keep it at 2 hours for now.
Yeah, definitely.
Would I welcome another show?
Yeah,
Maybe later on,
yeah, because
but
they're doing
when the roster expands.
they're doing Dark. Dark is coming to TNT. It's going to be
Okay.
2 hours, but it's going to have a lot of like the things that they put on YouTube, like the behind the scenes and the
Yeah.
whole the what they call it, the road to the next show. Like if they're in Jacksonville, they do a whole show, Road to Jacksonville. So they'll put that on TV. So it'll be interesting, and maybe it'll morph into something different later on. But that's what the current plans were before all this happened.
And I am totally down with that.
Yeah.
I would probably watch because right now I'm enjoying AEW more so than NXT. Although NXT is great,
Yeah.
NXT has been good,
No,
but there's
I
only
think,
so much content you can watch in 1 week, which is why I haven't watched NXT in 2 weeks.
yeah,
I'm a little behind. There's only so much you can watch.
exactly.
You know,
Only 24 hours in a day.
absolutely, and that's not enough. But anyhow, well, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
Listen, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching or is about to watch, be on the lookout for the start of our podcast, which will be available on all platforms: iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. Jay got a little smart with me the other day. iHeartRadio. I told him the way we go will probably be on Netflix next.
Hey, dude, that'd be awesome.
Available next week. We don't know the exact day it will be available, but we are starting that next week. So make sure you keep your eyes and ears open. And we will see you all on Monday. Good night, everybody.
Good night.